Welcome back to the Plus Money Podcast, your home for the best soccer bets in 15 minutes or less. 2 weekends to go in the Premier League. We have a big rivalry between Manchester United and Arsenal this weekend. The Champions League final is set. We've got Borussia Dortmund facing off against Real Madrid at Wembley. Kyle Bonn joins me on the podcast today. Busy few days for the Champions League. What do you think about this final we've got coming up?
Oh man, I mean it's a real tactical battle. Real Madrid have not been great, I don't think, in any of their games, and yet they just continue to pull the black magic out when they need it. I think one thing people need to know about Dortmund going into this final, they have conceded this number I researched going into their second leg against PSG, so it's probably even crazier now. But going into that second leg, they were plus 10.6 more XG conceded than goals conceded. They concede a ton of chances and don't concede goals. So if you're looking at early windows here, hammer shots on both sides because this is going to be a wet and wild final.
My general consensus with all Champions League finals is first half under and always take the under. Never take the over. I hate to say that. It makes zero fun for a game that we get so many neutrals that come in. It's the beginning of the summer. They watch their first soccer game of the year right before the Euros and the Champions League. And it's like, look, in this sport, unfortunately, we don't get a ton of classic finals. When we get them, we love them. But I'm gonna die on the sword of take the under if I have to.
I hear you. The last four finals have all been 1-0. But I think the Champions League, you're seeing a shift with how teams are attacking these games. They're not like the games that go under now should have gone over, right? Like they're just because
Absolutely.
they're missed opportunities. So I think you're seeing a shift. Look at the World Cup final. That we say the same thing about the World Cup final. And what was that game? Like 3-3 or 4-4 or something ridiculous, and
Uh,
then it went to penalties.
2-2, then it
3-3, I
went to
think.
pens. 2-2
Yeah,
went to pen. 2-2, then we got the 3-3 because we did get the Mbappe hat trick,
right.
and then we went to penalties. I mean, I think that's the greatest final I've ever watched in any sport. Like, take out your Game 7, Stanley Cup Finals, NBA Finals, World Series, Super Bowl. That's the greatest game I've ever seen.
If
Um,
this game goes under, it's because one of the two goalkeepers or both goalkeepers stood on their heads, which they're capable of doing. Kobel's the best goalkeeper in Germany this year, and either Lunin or Courtois both have been great. So, like, I think if you get the under, it's because guys missed chances and goalkeepers did great.
Definitely. All right, let us jump to the weekend. By the way, abridged card for me this weekend. A lot of stuff going on. So will I have more picks? Potentially. Follow me on social at Angel Passaro at the Plus Money Pod. You can follow Kyle at the _ bonfire with two N's. Let's jump to 7:30 in the morning Saturday. Fulham taking on Manchester City. The title race right in the thick of it. Manchester City and Erling Haaland out in a big way last weekend against Wolves, with Haaland 4 goals, a million shots on target, which if you tailed me at the beginning of the season, we're sweating out 60 and 65 shots on target for Haaland. We're up to 57 thanks to a 7 shot on target performance last weekend. I'm kind of all over the place. Both teams' score has hit in the last 4 games for both teams. Additionally, Manchester City, I've said this before, this is not the stout defense we've seen for Manchester City before. Um, I do think you can get City and both teams to score in this one at a good number. City and both teams scoring over 2.5 was not good enough for me to take on its own. You kind of got to lean with a team. My next thing is Fulham have accomplished a lot this season. They played way better ball than I expected. They got to the semifinals of the Carabao Cup. They've played really, really well. Is this team kind of on the beach? City -2 is at plus 100. I don't love anything that I'm seeing from this game, but it is obviously heavy title implications. Kyle, what are you seeing?
I'm 100% with you on this game. I actually also had both teams to score. You can get that if you want to like put it with a couple other things at like -140, which isn't too bad. Um, and if you want to, throw City in there, you could probably get it to near even money. I'm 100% with you on that. I just think So you mentioned City with a ton of shots last time out. I would stay away from that this time. Here's why. I'm going to get in the weeds a little bit here. I promise you it'll be quick, but just come on this journey with me. So Fulham have conceded the sixth highest XG per shot this year, but they are the least 20th in the Premier League in XGOT per shot. What they do really well is bait the other team into thinking they have high value opportunities. What they really have is low value opportunities. They do a great job of basically tricking teams into taking lots of shots. Man City don't play that game. Last time these two teams met, Man City scored 5 goals on 8 shots. They're just so efficient that this is the one team that Fulham's style of defensive play won't work against. So I'm just staying away from shot totals here because I don't think Man City will play Fulham's game, but I do think they will run away with this game by a significant score just because they don't. This is like a terrible matchup for Fulham.
Yeah, and I mean, look, I mean, Manchester City have to have it. They got to keep the momentum up. You got the big. I mean, is it big with the form that Tottenham have been on? Who knows? But they haven't won at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, I think, in the Premier League era. And that's a big game for them on Thursday as they try to win a 4th consecutive title. Let's jump to some other games, and I'm staying with one of the most informed teams in the division, and I screwed up on Monday. I only took them at draw no bet. We're talking about Crystal Palace. They're traveling to Wolves. They thrashed Manchester United on Monday, 4-0. The best form I've ever seen Elise and Eze in. Mateta's scoring goals, doing everything. Now, mind you, Manchester United, I could be starting for their back line right now. You don't want me starting for their back line. I'm 5'9" and I can't run. But that's who's playing out there. That being said, again, Wolves, another team, accomplished a lot. I thought they were getting relegated. They're very safe. Crystal Palace, on the other hand, new manager, finally getting the things moving, maybe setting up for a big next season. Palace, again, draw no bet at minus 126 is an amazing number. Great value there. They're plus 140 on the money line. Palace team total over 1.5 at plus 120, which they've hit in 4 of their last 6 games, is good value. And Wolves have given up 2 or more goals in 6 out of their last 10. Palace are unbeaten in their last 5, 4 wins and a draw. I have to stay with the Eagles right now. There's just too good a value. If Elise score or assist is plus 150, you take it. If he's plus 175 or more to score anytime, you take it. Same thing with Mateta. I think he's probably going to be right around plus 130. He's scored at a ridiculous clip of late. I just haven't been able to bet that at the right time. Like in the last 10 games, he scored in like 7 of them, and I've bet the 3 games that he hasn't scored. But should be a fun one on 10 at 10 a.m.
I'm gonna give a shout out to my boy Chris Richards too. He's in awesome form, and I did an interview with him last week before that United game, and he played great in that game, had an assist. So this Crystal Palace team, in awesome form. I think this is a game you swing for the fences, man, because Wolves just concede. If you're talking about a team on the beach, this is a team on the beach, and that's fine. That's not an insult. Like, they've done the business, they're good. But this is a team on the beach. Palace are the opposite. They are looking ahead to next season. They're like, we got a new manager. We're going to figure it out now, and that way we can hit the ground running next year. I think you swing for the fences in this game, and you go Palace and over 2.5. You can get that at plus 250. That is awesome. And this is the spot to do it because they can score goals. Everybody, I would stay away from goal scorers because everybody on Palace is clicking. And Wolves they give up tons of chances. They were really good defensively earlier in the year, and it's just evaporated. So I think you swing for the fences here.
I love that. That plus 250 value is great. We've got a great rivalry game coming up later on the podcast, but the rivalry game, maybe the biggest rivalry game in the UK, Saturday morning, 7:30, Rangers Celtic. I don't know who's home, so you're going to have to tell the people that one, but I know you've got picks for it.
Yeah, so I'm just going with a quick one here. Celtic at home. They have the 3-point advantage in the table and goal differential. So Rangers are going to have to come out swinging in this game because for Celtic, a draw is enough for them. But these two teams go gangbusters every time they play. So I'm taking both teams to score and over 2.5. It's minus 125, which isn't great value, but every time these two teams play, there are goals. And even in the games where you don't get goals, it's because they miss chances in front of net. You've got a high XG value anyways. So, this was 3-3 last time with Rangers at home, and on the road, they're going to have to open it up. Both teams are vulnerable at the back at times. Celtic a little better defensively, so I picked them to win, but I don't think there's enough value there. It's minus 110 money line. I just don't love it. So I would say just stick with, both teams to score and over 2.5 here at that minus 125. I think that's your best chance. It's a fun game. If you're gonna get up at 7:30 Eastern, do it, because that is an entertaining rivalry game. And the title race, I think there's 3 games left in the season, and it's still up in the air. But Rangers have a lot to do there.
Yeah, I mean the Scottish Premiership, tons of passion. It's all over the place. These are the big games. I'm gonna jump back to the Prem real quick. Bournemouth taking on Brentford, 10 a.m. Bournemouth money line at minus 110. I think this Brentford team they've got the points. They're done. Did nothing last weekend, last couple weekends. And frankly, Bournemouth are at a position where you've got a manager of the season candidate in Iraola who's attempting to continue to hit new heights for Bournemouth. I think they've already hit the highest point total they've ever gotten in the Premier League. That guy knows it, wants to continue to build on a strong start. If you want to take Bournemouth and over 1.5, it's going to get you into a plus number at plus 110. I don't know if they're going to thrash Brentford here, but I definitely see them getting the win at the minimum. So I love the Cherries.
They're fun, man. They're a fun team. The only thing I worry about is that they were really disappointing against Arsenal. I
Yeah.
actually really thought they would give Arsenal a run for their money. I really did,
I had the both
because
teams to score in that game.
yeah, and I thought it would be closer. It wasn't close at all. I mean, 3-0, sometimes you get a 3-0 game where you're like, they scored a bunch of great goals and we were right in it. They were never in it. And that worries me a little bit, but this is a good spot for them.
Yep. All right. I have a quick parlay for the rest of the 10 a.m. window into the 12:30 window. Just both teams to score. Clock's in a plus 170. West Ham Luton. There's no way both teams don't score in that game. Tottenham Burnley. Burnley fighting for their lives. I think they're done, but they've got to throw the kitchen sink at it. And Tottenham all over the place right now. And then Forest and Chelsea. Same thing. Forest, I think they're safe at this point, but not guaranteed officially. And that Chelsea defense stinks. I just want to remind you, over 3.5 for the Chelsea game. Forest versus Chelsea is plus 125. Chelsea have had I think in their last like 10 games, the over 3.5 has only missed once or twice. It's at a ridiculous clip right now. They're either scoring goals or conceding goals. It's all over the place at Chelsea right now. I will say they played great football over the weekend. They beat Tottenham. I think that was one of the few games that came in on the under. But I see something happening in this game, 12:30, where I don't know. I personally, as a guy who has a ticket for Chelsea to miss the top 6, would love the tricky trees to do the business on Saturday at 12:30. Do I think that's going to happen? No, but this Chelsea defense it's not great. It's
It's
neither is the
not.
Forest one.
I think the Chelsea are great at making themselves look really good against bad teams. And then they stink against good teams. The Tottenham game was a perfect example of that. I mean, Spurs stink right now.
Yeah, they're bad.
But this is a spot. I like that over. I mean, just goals, and their defense is brutal. Even they pitched 2 shutouts in a row, and you're like, how?
Yeah, it's a great question. All right, let's jump to Sunday. Only one game on Sunday in the Premier League. I think they moved the Aston Villa Liverpool game to Monday, thinking that both teams would be in a semifinal for Europa, and turns out only one. And they might get bounced out in Greece today. Manchester United Arsenal, huge game. When you peel back the layers, maybe a little less when you think about it. I just want to point out the fact that Manchester United started Johnny Evans. It was reported to me by a friend of mine who's a United fan, so I'm going to believe this, that Johnny Evans failed a physical in the morning against Crystal Palace, and United still asked him, saying, hey, we have no one else to play. Casemiro, not a center back. Just want to point that out. And because he's not playing in the middle of midfield, they had to run out Kobe Mino next to Christian Eriksen. If they have to do that against Arsenal, is it 10 for Arsenal? That's my question, because Arsenal, they're not messing around right now. They're putting everybody to the sword. They thrashed a bad Chelsea defense a couple weeks ago, 5-0, and I think it could be equally as bad. And the only thing that holds up for United is maybe it's Old Trafford, but I think there's a bunch of guys in that locker room that don't care about United. They don't care about Eric Ten Hag. So I got a bunch of props here. Arsenal and over 3.5 is plus 145. That's where you start. Arsenal team total over 3.5 is plus 300. Um, and then I've been laddering shots in Man United games for a while now. It missed against Crystal Palace, and that's on me for putting the bet in on Thursday and not realizing that on Monday, Man United's lineup was going to be different. But 32 shots in the match, minus 130, 34 shots, plus 100, 33 shots, plus 100, 34 shots, plus 125, 35 shots, plus 160. In their last 5 games, Arsenal shot totals, because United are usually good for 10 to 15. They're not good shots, but they get them out there. 25-9 against Tottenham, a game they were up 3-0 very quickly. 27, 24, and then the 8 in the Bayern Munich game where they couldn't do anything. So you are taking a little bit of a risk, but I don't know. I like Arsenal in a big way on Sunday. I don't know about you.
100%. I mean, look, Eric Ten Hag has been saddled with a boatload of injuries. It's really a bummer. But at the same time, this team can't even do like simple fundamentals, and the vibes, it's just terrible vibes. You can get Arsenal to win the first half and over 1.5 goals at plus 200. I am all over that because United stink across the 90 minutes. It's not like they hang on and then, fall apart late. They are terrible early, and I love Arsenal to jump on them in the first half. United have given up first half goals to Sheffield United, Bournemouth, Liverpool, and Chelsea all since the start of April, and they should have given up a first half goal to Burnley, who had over 1.0 XG in the first 45 minutes as well, but it's Burnley. So they didn't score. So I am all over Arsenal win the first half and over 1.5 goals there at 2-1 odds. You start and finish there. And if you want to find a goal scorer, I don't love Arsenal goal scorers because anybody can do it on a day, but I do love Martin Odegaard score or assist at basically even money at minus 105. So
That's
I
great
would
value.
love that as well.
That's amazing value because he's pulling the strings in that midfield for them. All right, guys, that's going to just about wrap it up for us. I do have some leans real quick, but I just want to say thank you, Kyle, for coming on. Go follow him and his work at _bonfire. You can follow me at Andrew Passaro. A couple of the things that I like for the weekend, not sure if I'll put them in or not, just pointing them out to you guys and do with the information what you will. Leverkusen in over 2.5 at plus 120 against Bochum. It's very rare we get this number at a plus number. They're obviously coming off a Thursday Europa League game. And as you know, bet Leverkusen the second they start losing, win or draw. I want them to get that golden shield in the Bundesliga. Alaves plus 170, draw no bet at home against Girona. Girona won their first road game since January, their last road game. After losing like 5 of their last 6 and drawing the other one. They've officially qualified for the Champions League. They have nothing to play for. Alaves, I think, have been okay in Spain this year. Haven't watched a ton of them, but just do some more research. Just throwing it out there for you. Juve versus Salernitana, both teams to score, plus 146. This is either a both teams to score or a draw, one or the other. Figure it out. And then Atalanta are playing Roma. Both of them are playing today, Thursday, in the Europa League. And I don't know why the over 2.5 is minus 114. I don't know why the over 3.5 is plus 225. I don't know why Atalanta team total over 1.5 is plus 102. And I don't know why Roma team total over 1.5 is plus 200. Because these teams like to score goals. And yeah, Gianluca Scamacca, if he starts anytime, dude's maybe the most informed striker in the world right now. I'm only saying that because he hurt me a lot. But he's been doing the business. So that's my leans. Not sure if I'll put those in, but if you want to, you can. Thank you guys for listening, for watching at the Plus Money Pod, at Andrew Passaro, at the _bonfire. We'll be back next week. We'll wrap up the Premier League, one big slate at 11 o'clock or 11:30. I haven't looked at the time yet. And then we get ready for the Euros and the Copa America and Champions League final, Europa League final, maybe the Conference League final. We'll figure it out. Best of luck, everybody, this weekend. Let's stay positive.